Yes, because it's picking up the audio, it'll pick up what's on the speaker. No puede pasar enfrente del parlante, ¿verdad? You know about speaking from microphone. So have to be really careful not to have the feedback, right?
So what do I do?
No se puede pasar como del otro lado del parlante.
Entonces, de este lado. Probando.
Besarlo.
¿Aló, aló?
I know, do all yours. I just want to help. I know you do. Do you work currently at HP?
No, I just left. I did. I'm in between. I have like plans in the works.
Chicos are very nice like that, so you always want to help me get up and get off the bus. Can I hold your bags?
Si no es posible, no.
Que funciona, pero que se acerca aquí, no sé si es.
Es que tengo que pasar la presentación.
Pero tranquilidad, si no funciona, lo dejamos así. Ella tiene una voz bien alta para la gente acá. No importa. And we'll just leave it on the audio and just see what it picks up. Pero ya no tenemos tiempo, entonces si no está funcionando, no está funcionando. Tranquilidad. All right, if everybody can get seated, that'd be fantastic so we can get started. Is he taking it away?
You need to see.
Ya no, ¿verdad? O vamos a probar una vez más. Okay. Somebody else say Gloriana? Okay, so
Yeah.
I will just say it.
Right.
I'll do one.
Sí.
Okay. Yeah, they could.
Okay. Ya no funcionó, entonces. Okay, tranquilidad, vamos a empezar entonces. All right, so let's maybe. I just need to have it be quiet. All right, welcome everybody. We're gonna have to use our loud voices because the microphone's not working, but welcome to the June event of the Professional Women's Network of Costa Rica. We're so glad you're here. This is a lovely group, and so we wanted to make sure you had time to chat and everybody made full use of that before starting. Today we have a special treat with Gloriana Matamoros after our speaker, Gloriana Matamoros. She'll be telling us more about the Rahab Foundation and their current projects. So we'll look forward to that as well. Gloriana has offered to introduce herself because she knows herself. You're so glad you're back. Thank you.
Well, that's a gift.
No, well, thank you. Talk about the moment.
Everybody. Okay. Great. So thank you for having me back. I worked for 25 years at technology companies. I worked at Intel for 18, then at a startup when we created an app called Cash for money transfer. And up until recently, I was working at HP. Now I'm on to new endeavors. Like, you know, those of you who met me last time, I started this with my mom, who was 80 years old, saying, I'm going to teach you about fraud. And it has evolved to different friends and different trainings. So hopefully you give me feedback and we amuse ourselves today. We're gonna go through AI, and I'm gonna cover like some technical concepts in simple terms. So please go ahead and interrupt me, raise your hand, or feel free to ask. Hopefully I can answer your questions, and if not, we will ask AI afterwards. At the end of my talk, I wanted to put in a few examples. So I have examples of some of your businesses, so you can see what's the potential. I might get you lost in the sense that I'm changing screens and doing that, but the idea is to review just the outcome. Okay. Oh, and I self-named myself a tech enthusiast because I don't have a technical background. Okay.
You don't.
I don't. I'm a business administrator. Okay. So where are we in terms of technology? We're witnessing a tipping point in the era of artificial intelligence with the power to revolutionize the way we live and work like never before. So I saw recently on a TED Talk, one of the creators from AI, and he said, usually there's a curve bell in every innovation. In this one, there's no curve. Like we've reached the point where it's just gonna be exponential. So now we're like a non-turning point. So why is that important? High level let me put in the timer to make sure I'm on track. So I'm going to cover why it's important and some of the risks. We're going to talk about the AI history, the mumbo jumbo, which I like to call it, which is some of the technical terms explained. And then we're going to go into large language models to simplify our life, which would be like ChatGPT, Gemini, and another one that I'll be showing. Okay. So what's really cool in AI? The way in healthcare, how a response is getting so quickly. So for example, this is a company that is now able to take 3 minutes in a surgery for cancer and test the biopsy, because the AI it can say this is a lymphoma or this is not. So in the middle of the operation, instead of you going out and being closed up, it's going to take only 3 minutes. Yep.
Is it 100% reliable?
So with AI, there's always like a high possibility. So I'm sure if they're using it, it's because it has like a high percentage. And I don't have the name of the company here. NIO, Laser Imaging System. So I don't think it's for everything. I'm sure they're using it for something that they're confident in. Okay, in finance you can see the bank, right? Now you get like on status saying somebody logged into your account or you had this transaction come in. There's monitoring. I know we talked about fraud last time, but there's a lot of untimely monitoring where they can say, the other day there was a company that the person was trying to do a transfer, and the bank called saying, I'm seeing that the IP of the person that is doing the transfer is in Paris. Are you sure? And they stopped like the transfer. So there's a lot of like on time notice and improvements in finance, right? The stock market. If you go to the stock market now, you just got to let the computers run, right? It's not like there's people running and doing the times. There's a lot of on time data that we've improved in finance. Autonomous driving. I don't think we're going to see self-driving cars in Costa Rica, but even in our cars, there's a lot of things that we can do, right? We can have a 360 camera. We can see impacts to where we're parking. There's alarms on a lot of these new electrical cars, or actually modern cars, that say there's a car reaching. So there's a lot of things that are innovative. And in the top picture, which I think is pretty cool, that's in Bigland Mall. If you order like Uber Eats, there's a self car that goes, and then you put in your PIN number and you open up your Uber Eats. So they're self-driving in Florida. In astronomy, I love astronomy. Haven't learned anything about it, but I logged into NASA to take this picture. they've been able to discover a ton of exoplanets. What are exoplanets? They're planets outside our solar system, which we used to think they were stars. So I don't know how they do it, but with AI, they've been able to capture like different patterns. And in that one in NASA, it says you are now 825 light years from Earth, right? With all these new telescopes. So a lot of really cool things happening also in astronomy. Now, the next slide might be a bit controversial. It's not a political statement. It's a statement to show you where we're at. Oh, it's not that one. Oh, it's coming. I just wanted to warn you. Okay, what are some of the risks? AI works on data. So whatever you input is whatever comes out. And that is a problem in the sense that, for example, there've been people that have been tailored through a camera saying you were the criminal, and it wasn't. It's just like they didn't have enough data on that type of profile, and the camera made a mistake, right? That's one of the risks. Privacy violations. A lot of our data is going around and it needs to be used for the best terms. There's privacy concerns. Misinformation. That's a new thing in Costa Rica, and it's going to be it's risky if we're not attentive to it. So recently, the president of BAC, Rodolfo Tavares, was portrayed in a video, and he's talking, promoting like this pyramid to invest. That is all. They have also used Oscar Arias, and it's just like a fake video. But if you see it quickly, it looks like it's the actual person, but it's a voiceover. So job placement, right? It's going to give us a lot of free time, but it's also going to alternate the way we work, or at least that we know how we've been working in the past. Lack of transparency, like a black box, like sometimes the outcome comes out and we're not sure how it came. And then autonomous weapons, right? Just like a car moves automatically, a weapon can move automatically. So we've been binding ourselves a lot by ethics. And one of the ones that is not here, which I think you all have a concern, is critical thinking, right? So I went in and I used your company.
Synchroramas, Gary.
Yeah, Synchroramas, yeah. And I did like a deep dive on the company, and I went out and
I need that analysis, thank you so much.
oh, so I did like a quick deep dive. You can get like 18 pages, which would in our times be like a thesis in 15 minutes, all right? With a lot of research, with all of the links. Yeah.
All this information comes out, but what's the information in? Like
All-
Everything that all of us, no, everybody that uses it. So there's three brains. I always say my husband only has two of those three. The first one is it's very smart. My husband has that one. When I fell in love, he's very smart. So OpenAI has looked through all of the internet, and it used to be really bad because it hadn't reached the whole thing, but now it's up to date and it can search. So it's pretty cool. That's the information. The second one, it understands your profile. Like my husband, he understands what I like or what I don't like. So when you log into it, it's gonna start knowing your profile. So if you're diabetic and you put diabetic, it's gonna understand your profile. The third one that I don't have in my family that everybody loves AI for is that it remembers. So it remembers your profile, right? I'll remember the 10 things you said 3 days ago, and you think it's like so lovely that it remembers. So with OpenAI, what they did was cleaned out like the internet and everything is there. But now as you log in and you put in your data, it goes into the tool. But at some point, the owners of like these companies will go ahead and say, trash this or not, because it's not like everything can go in, right? There's a lot of things that can be fake. You can also tell the system to not use your data. So that would be for an open source, for like OpenAI. 1 second. ChatGPT is open source, which is everything's there. But in a company will do their own, will have their own inputs. Yes.
My question goes into copyrights.
That's a risk.
There is a risk, right?
Yeah.
Because, for example, in library, in general, libraries, academic libraries, are required to, let's say, they store or other sources for academic information, strictly academic papers. Now with this tool, it goes into it, but the libraries are still paying for that service. And it's a big chunk of money. And it's like being subscribed to the old kind, magazines or journals or whatever we used to use in the universities, but now it's online.
Yeah, they should, what's, a lot of it is, it's on hold by ethics, so they should give credit to the person that's due, and I think a lot of the laws are coming around, but I don't know.
Not yet.
I don't know where it's going, actually, that's like,
So it gives you the information without telling you where is it coming.
no, it should tell you the source, yeah, it should tell you the sources. It also depends on the one you're using, right? If you're using OpenAI, that's one of the cleanest one, which is ChatGPT. So for example, at HP, where I used to work, HP, employees cannot use ChatGPT because there's they cannot use ChatGPT because there's a risk that your data goes offward. And we're talking about a developer doing like a transistor, right? So they want to make sure that they're not there. So we have ChatGPT. So they're self-creating like the library, and it's really bad. It makes a lot of errors, but it'll eventually be fed all of the information.
Yeah, it's very risky too. Not too long ago, I read that a student at a university, and I can't remember the name of the university, but one of the Ivy Leagues is suing the faculty member because she found out that everything that he taught in the class was
AI generated.
right, and so she got very upset and she sued him and said, I deserve my money. So we're gonna have a little.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we're gonna see that are not resolved yet. Okay, I don't have the controversial picture yet. Okay, this is not new. So in the 1950s, Alan Turing did a test where he said, what if we have a machine respond and provide answers to a person? How long will it take the person to know that it wasn't generated by a human? So that was the first time. Then in 1956, in the University of Dartmouth, they had like an 8-week retreat where they formalized the vision saying, oh, we can have computers do all these things. And they came up with a lot of mathematical wins. So AI was kind of like there. In 1966, they created Elisa, which was a chatbot that simulated the conversation. So it can't do what it does now, where it can proactively provide an answer. But if you said, how is your day? It would say, day is nice, because it was straight to listen to words and respond. But it wasn't thinking, but it came like that. Where it all went downhill and kind of messy was with the IBM Deep Blue. It was a computer that was able to win the national chess player, the world's national chess player. It could not do it again, right? Because it doesn't have the brain to self-plan, but it was able to strategically win. So they have that one in museums, and the name Deep Blue is used a lot because it's like, it reminds people of being smart. Then Google Translate came in 26, and then you didn't have to speak English. You just have to say Spanish and say translate, and then all of a sudden, it opened like a whole new market in the job place, right? Where people at work would be able to not know a lot of English, but be able to send out an email to a customer. And then in 2019, OpenAI was when it was formed. It was actually done by Sam Altman and Elon Musk. And of course, like he's done before, they're no longer friends. I'll talk about it in a minute. ChatGPT came in 2023, and what we're using now is called generative AI. Yeah. This is the picture that I wanted to make sure that was not a political statement, but this hasn't happened before, right? If you look at the picture, there's Donald Trump, and that's Tim Cook from Apple, and your Apple phone, the most recent ones already has Siri in it and AI. There's Mark Zuckerberg, he has Meta AI. It's in your WhatsApp, and it's also in your Instagram. This is Jeff Bezos, that's Amazon. Stuff you buy in Amazon, and where you save your information. So in the company I used to work with, Cash, that one where it was money transfer, instead of getting servers in the company, we just paid Amazon Web Service, right? So we pay like $50 and it's up in the web, very secure, but it's from Amazon. This is Pindle from Google, right? There's Google Deep Dive, there's Gemini, and OpenAI or ChatGPT, the original ones, was created by Elon Musk and Sam Altman. They came up with the idea saying, let's do this, have everybody available the data. It puts people, it also provides like enough in education because everybody has access to the information. Then at some point, they did not agree with the vision. Sam Altman sold some of the coding to Microsoft. Microsoft has Copilot and it uses some of the same technology. Then Elon wanted to buy it back and so it's the novel. But the whole thing is, I don't think we've ever seen a political world stance where everybody there is focused on like technology.
How many people are represented on Facebook, Amazon, Google? It's half of the people, more than half of the digital planning. Isn't that 5 people? They have all the information on us, for there.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Microsoft wasn't in that specific picture. They didn't sit down in the same chairs, but yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's all the information.
Cool.
Okay.
I have a scarf and a jacket if you would like. I brought it just for that reason, in case I'm sitting in that.
Over there, I'll sit there.
Okay, great. Let's move into artificial intelligence and how it works. So, so artificial intelligence, like we know it now, is technology that allows computers or smartphones to do something that previously required human intelligence because it's able to take a decision. It's able to learn what you tell them, say a response, or it's able to make a decision. So that's what artificial intelligence is.
Can I just?
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't really realize that, like, we're talking about all those people and these huge sort of systems that's like ChatGPT and all that, but also AI is, like, if you have a coffee maker that you program for at night for the next morning, that's a little
Take a
AI
decision,
there.
yeah.
That might not be like in a whole system, or if you have like, everybody has experienced that you need to talk to somebody at VCR and you go.
The chat box.
Yeah, and the chat bot, that's all AI also, and then there's like a lot of different.
And then Waze will tell you
Right.
where to go and where you've been, yeah.
All different things that are like less sort of scary because they're like less,
It's like an evolution. We've been
Yeah,
seeing an
and so
evolution.
it, like, we all have been using it, whether you consciously log on to ChatGPT or not. So, and it's been a long, long time. Like,
Agree.
so.
Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through the hierarchy of like the mumbo jumbo from artificial intelligence down to generative AI. To understand from like simple to more complex. So artificial intelligence is analyzing a task, taking a decision, and executing a task. That's the overall encompassing artificial intelligence. Now, how is it trained? It's trained by machine learning, which learns from data to improve performance. I'm gonna go into this one's. I have a Chihuahua, so that's why. So how is the machine trained? If you wanted to defer and understand that this is a muffin, this is a Chihuahua, and have the machine be able to select muffin Chihuahua, you're gonna have to tell it all of the Chihuahuas, all of the Chihuahuas that exist there in the world, and all of the muffins, right? And then you have it run, and this is an actual test, and it failed, like, it was like 65% accurate. So what does the machine do? It's trained, and then it's validated. The person in the company that was running this experiment, so the engineer, would say, if it has white around and little hairs, like, I'll put that into the model and I'll train it again. You go back again, that's what it does. And that takes a lot of servers. So that's why they say we're like impacting the environment, because we're impacting the environment more in agriculture and in other things. But from an AI perspective, it's because the training models consumes a lot of energy. Why is it much better now than it was in the past? Before there used to be CPUs, now there's GPUs. And GPUs can do parallel processing and take big tasks while the CPU is running on something else.
What does the G stand for?
I think it's graphic processing unit, I think. But anyway, NVIDIA has some of those best chips. So once the model is trained, it's called inference and it's out like on production. So this is a simple example, but let's think of SARS disease or let's think of COVID when COVID came. Instead of chihuahuas, you say, I have all these viruses, all these, anybody that has all these symptoms, yes, I wanted to use all of these medicines and then it runs the combination, doesn't work, and then it comes out. With the Moderna, which was one of the vaccines that they use, they did it in a few days versus what would have taken years because they can do that, right? They can validate the model, constantly saying, I have new data here, and doing the match. So that's kind of like machine learning. The next step from artificial intelligence to machine learning is neural networks. So it's inspired by the way the brain works. And that's me taking a class of sign language, right? So it understands one thing versus another. So it's trained for, so that would be like a neural network. Inspired by the brain. And the next one is deep learning. So it uses neural networks, but it goes into very profound layers for more complex tasks, like a self-driving vehicle where it needs to know if somebody's walking, needs to know the distance, it needs to know the size, right? There's like a lot of things that are taking place.
Cool. Good question.
Uh-huh.
As are we talking algorithms? This is not linking. These are actual
Yeah, like
algorithms.
correct, yeah. So actually I said neural networks because it's it's the way like they copied the way the brain works to take a decision. So it's like an algorithm. Let's put it that way. This is a flow from deep learning. That's from the NVIDIA training that I took. So I'll say, is this a dog? Is this a dog or a cat? And then I'll say, what's the fur like? And then it'll say, it has this fur. Does it have whiskers? Yes, it has whiskers. So that's it was designed to copy the brain, and that's why I use the word thinking, but it's an algorithm, like you're saying. Yeah. Thank you for the correction. And then it'll go ahead, that's 95% accurate, that's a dog. That's the one the computer's doing. It's going through different layers. It's following a pattern. And once it learns the pattern, if it has the same thing, it just knows the pattern. So for example, when you look up a recipe, right, it already knows the pattern. So I'm going to go into a recipe, and it already knows, it's already done it before, and it walks. The algorithms move like that. Okay, so deep learning would be like the X-rays, the iPhone. You know how when you have your pictures on your iPhone and it classifies people, that's one of the most complex AI. And sometimes you say, oh, that's not that person. I heard, but I don't know if it's true, that it can now classify an animal, like it could classify your pet in the iPhone, but I don't know if that's true. So it's more complex. And then lastly, where we're at in this whole process is generative AI. So it's creating new content on what it has, on the algorithm that it previously has, and it uses transformers or a pattern. So this is like ChatGPT, like you said, some of those things were artificial intelligence. We're down to here, where this is like the most complex, like OpenAI or Gemini and so forth. So this is generative AI, right? I know we talk about ChatGPT, but now you can do a presentation in Gamma, or now if you're a writer, you can use Claude for writing, or Perplexity if you want to go do research and search. So there's a lot of things out there. And they're called large language models. Because they're trained on language. And the word GPT, when we say chat GPT, that word GPT is generic. It's called generative pre-trained transformer, so it's used in other items. One of the other mumbo jumbo language is natural processing language. I just wanted to showcase that it's also happening. So for example, when you're in Netflix and you say thumbs up or thumbs down, the computer says thumbs down, don't give him all these categories of movies. Thumbs up, romance, give him all these categories of movies. Or when you say the algorithm, like in Facebook, that's like the best algorithm where you say, I like this picture, and then all of a sudden you start seeing that person furthermore because they moved up on your algorithm. Natural processing languages is used for spam filters. So when you say, I don't like this mail or I don't like this user, then it learns and says, I'm not going to send it again. And one interesting thing, it's the one that understands typos. You know how when you type, which is we talked about it in the fraud meeting. That is also an issue because it says PayPal and your mind autocorrects. Well, the computer has been trained that if you don't put an accent or you hit most of your algorithms, then it's going to think it's this word. Okay. I took this class with Tomate Caminoek, and I think this is the best representation, so I give him credit. I don't know if he wrote it, but it starts where you ask for what you ask for in generative AI is called a prompt, just because that's the name of what you want to do. Then it goes through a token process. A token process is the amount of words. So for example, Gemini can process more tokens than ChatGPT for output, but it's things that unless we're working on like tons of data, for us, it doesn't matter, but it goes through a token process where it breaks out the words, gives them numeric representation. So for example, there's a river bank and there's a bank. Right? And I'll say there's a river bank. Is they're talking about finance? Yes, they're talking about finance. So I'm going to think of a bank. Or if they're talking about nature, then I'm going to think of a river bank. And that's how, when we talked about the neural networks, that's how it's going segregated. And then it generates the text out. So that's the summary of questions.
Where is this?
I don't think it's stored. I think it's just, it was read and now we can go ahead and pull the data and follow a pattern. I don't think it's like actually stored. I think it was everywhere in the internet.
So it go into any server that's available.
Yeah, I don't think it's stored.
Wow.
It was there and they read it and now it understood that it understood a pattern. I'll take that one back. But for example, in HP, if it's self-made, a self-made AI, it'll read into that one. Do you know the answer? Oh, no.
No,
Okay,
I
go.
don't know the answer to that, but take the illustration, to talk about something. And you have to translate, you're not even talking with anybody about that. But the next time you open your telephone, it booms, it gives you something about what you can tell me, whether it's chihuahuas or apple cake or whatever. The other day, I know because I mean I got many examples. Just the other day, my friend was asking me how did you make that cake that you made last time about that. I said it's simple. It's an apple cake with this and that. Not half an hour passed when somebody called me and the first thing I said, recipes for apple cake.
And you think it was sent from space, but yeah, actually Siri has like the voice activator where you can say, hey Siri, and answer that.
We didn't talk to Siri, it's just come.
Yeah. Well, it's a computer, so it might have like some bugs into it, yeah.
But
How can that be? How many sometimes?
It's not.
It's in the original space. It's stored in the original space and it was read and it'll just go and pull in the information. Kind
So
of.
like, everything that is on the internet is accessible to all of us, but particularly because this my processing is much, much slower than what this thing has the capacity to process. So literally, like, all the papers from all the universities, every book that's ever been written, every post that you've said, I love this bridge in Italy, blah, blah, blah. And then everything that we've all done on the internet is all available and it processes it really quickly. And so if you ask it a question, how do I get from my house to the Delta Marriott? And then it zips you through, but knowing all of that information from all the papers and that.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the difference between ChatGPT and, Genesis?
Gemini.
Gemini.
I'm gonna look into them and show you some examples. A lot of them are similar. I think Gemini came in later. Google sent it out later, and when it came really cool. So they kind of like, we're gonna see it.
That's the one.
Huh?
That's the one.
I use both for different things. I'll show you.
Okay, that's my question.
Because Gemini is connected to what Google had, so.
My husband.
Huh?
I just have one question. You've gotten the information that you want unsolicited, but I found something that I wanted, a person who cleaned my furniture. But, after you've gotten the information that you want, is there any way for you to stop continuing to get information on that topic?
So if it's in like Facebook, you can snooze it or you can stop looking at it because it's all based on algorithms.
Okay, that's.
Because it's all based on algorithms, yeah. So that's why it's such a, I think I mentioned last time where I saw somebody I dated when I was like 15 and then he was on top of my Facebook and I was like, no, snooze. Okay, so data is like food, right? That's what feeds AI and that's what it's saying. Is it a part on, like I mentioned, right? Like a river bank or a bank in a finance section, huh?
I just have a comment. You know, about 20 years ago, I worked as an interpreter in a hospital for a while, Spanish English, and a nurse had written some instructions to a Spanish speaking patient, and it said that no lluvia, like she was trying to say no, shower.
Ah,
You know, so
this is
now
translated, yeah.
we're talking about now the computer's better at distinguishing, whether you mean rain shower or,
Yeah,
a bath shower.
exactly. Okay, so there's different places. I'm gonna do some online examples. ChatGPT, you want GPT, like I said, is a generic term, so you want to use the one from OpenAI, because it's the most complete one. You can also go into chatgpt.com, free or subscription. I would not recommend subscribing to anything until you decide what you want to do, because I want to use everything, but everything's $20. So I'm gonna use Canva for presentations, and I want to use a napkin for visuals, and everything's $20. So figure out what you like. Use everything free for now. The next one is Gemini. Gemini is from Google. So when you log into your Google, you need to be logged into your Google. It's that triangle there called Gemini. Or you can go into gemini.google.com. Like, why do you want to be logged into your Gmail account? So it can go ahead and say open notes. We're gonna go into it. So it's open notes and it's gonna open your notes, right? Open, it's like that. Gemini has deep research. I'm gonna give an example of that. And I thought it'd be important to go through this one, DeepSync, because it created a lot of noise. DeepSync came in January 27th, and the Chinese said, oh, look, we have something like ChatGPT, at a tenth of the cost, really cheap. It's backed up by a Chinese algorithm fund, and we didn't use GPUs, or not as many as is being used. So NVIDIA, which is the big GPU provider, that day on January 27th lost $560 billion in the stock market, just in one day only, because they said, I use more software than hardware in creating this. Now, I always say, what's the difference between software and hardware? Software is when you get pissed off when your computer's not working. Hardware is if you can hit it. So with DeepSync, if you want to use it, and you can use it for free, it's funny. Some topics they'll say I have no recognition of that regarding human rights, so it's pretty interesting. And there's questions about like the data, where this whole thing came up and was already ready, where that data came from. We don't know. It's there, it's very similar to ChatGPT and Gemini. Okay. So with the use of AI, it should be your first draft. It's a complement to what we do. We need to make sure that it's not the final draft, it's a draft, and people have been using it like crazy and making all these mistakes. I saw one in La Nación, and it had like a typo. Do you want to use this or that? Like nobody even edited. I have a BYD car, and in my BYD car, the announcement said, do you like this image or would you want a larger image? And it was published like in their Facebook, right? So people are starting to use this and not actually read through it. Okay, don't share your secrets. AI can make mistakes. It can sound very confident. It's much better than it used to be. Like I said, it's already read through everything. In the previous ChatGPT version, so after it came out in 2019, there was a very famous case in the States where somebody went to court and said, based on this example, right, that's how they played the case, and it was an academic, so it wasn't like a real case, but at that point, it was just, they just took it from ChatGPT as a use, but it was an academic, it was not a real life case.
But it wasn't real, it was a fake.
It was an academic paper, so it wasn't like it had gone to court and this was the resolution. It's like somebody had done it in the academics and they used it as their case. They presented their case saying, as this, but that was before, that was a while ago, right? So that
It's not checking their sources.
yeah, but before it was harder to check sources and so forth with ChatGPT. Okay, use it as your personal assistant. So a lot of it is that we're afraid to ask. We don't think it's gonna do it. So we want to make sure that we ask for it in detail, what we want. Fact check, right? They have people dedicated to the input that is coming in to make sure that not everything is inputted into the model and to make sure, like, to verify the sources, but there's still a possibility of fake information. So now let's talk about how to write a prompt. So this is a library in Germany. Imagine if you have to tell somebody, go get me a menu. In this library, they would say like a restaurant menu or a menu for your house or a menu for like your party, like it's so broad. So with the prompt, one of the things you can tell is, who do you want it to be? I want you to be a mother organizing a menu. I want you to be a nutritionist, act as. So that's why you're telling it. That's why you're telling it to act as a specific person, because you're giving it direction to go into a library. Then you tell it, what do you want it to do? I want you to grab me a menu for my family, five meals. How do you want to see the data? I love seeing things in tables, so I always say, deliver it to me in a table. Or you can, I mean, these are all optional, right? And then background, what information do you want it to know? If you're a celiac, you probably want to say that. If you're a diabetic, you probably want to say that. Or for example, when I do a menu, I say for teenagers, and it totally goes into this library, into a subset that is nuggets and so forth, which is fine, right? So some of my friends say, you have to tell it all that information. I'm like, yes, because you're talking to a computer, so you want to narrow it down and make sure the data that comes out is what you want.
So you really need to know what you want.
Yeah. And I think I'm gonna go into examples. So what can you do with it? You can do customer service. So Anna was just saying she uses chatbot for her business. Planning, you can ask for it to do a wedding planner on a project plan. Language, you can say practice with me Italian, and then you talk to it in Italian. For law, you can say use the Costa Rican law and make a contrato, right? There's a lady that worked at my house and I had to let her go, and she said, can you make me a recommendation letter? And she came by and I hadn't done it, so I went to ChatGPT and I say, make a recommendation letter using the law of Costa Rica of somebody I'm very happy that was great with my kids, a great cook, whatever, and she cried the letter. It's so nice, but I fixed it after, right? But she was waiting there and it took me 2 seconds rather than go and make this. Presentations. In ChatGPT or Gemini, you can ask for a presentation, but now they have all these sites like Gamma, where like or Canva has already AI in it, where you can actually do really cool stuff. Music. I think some of the singers out there are just putting in a few words and getting their music going. Travel. We're gonna use Gemini for travel because I like that. Do that. You can do a menu. Business innovations. I have some of that. You can ask create content for programmers. So I work, like the kids say, what used to take me 4 hours, now I can go and they have to use the internal site. So they go to ChatHB and say, find the that error in this formula, and they can go to the gym. Right? Because what would take them forever to figure out in a code is now available if somebody has already put it in. You can do research, you can do graphics, you can ask for it. I'm using it to explain to me financial statements. So financial statements in simple terms. I'll still look at the financial statement, but I want to have like I feel smarter when I tell them what to ask. We'll see that. So.
One question again.
Yeah.
Innovation, how do you do innovation?
I have,
If everything's already, if it doesn't create anything, it only has information about something that's already done.
so for the Cinco,
Yes.
yeah, I have an example. I'm gonna go through it. I asked, look in the market of 2 different products and create a strength, weakness, opportunity threads. So I can go into my business and see what are the options.
I would like to just sort of regarding research, a really dear friend of my husband and I's, is the head of marketing for Michigan State University. And his wife, was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And he used all of his resources that he's already very comfortable with, because head of marketing means that he uses all of these things all of the time. And so when he would go to a doctor's appointment, he would record the doctor's appointment, because there's a whole bunch of terminology that he doesn't understand, because he's a marketing guy and not a medical professional. And he would take all those terms and then he would take the audio recording, put it into using AI to put it into something that's written, pop it into either ChatGPT or OpenAI or something, and ask it what are the questions I should ask the doctor in the next appointment? Or he also asked, who, given this profile of my wife's, condition, who's the best, or where's the best results that that has ever existed statistically in all of the world? Like, what doctor should I take my wife to? Or what question should I ask to get into a long waiting list? Or how should I move up on a long waiting list to get into a certain place? And in all of that, was able to move and get into a hospital that has the best statistics, get to this doctor that has the best statistics, got the right questions into, different types of medications that maybe if you don't know anything about your medical condition, then at least you have a partner that's guiding you through and continuing to sort of guide you how to jump the line and ask the right questions. And I think that's an incredible tool to be able to get somebody who doesn't know how to get closer to something that makes you feel.
So we're gonna start going through examples. I might lose somebody on the line, but I'm gonna do them online. This one I'm gonna do in ChatGPT. So it's AI in the kitchen. Please create a 5-day meal plan I didn't tell it to be a nutritionist. Maybe I should. Well, I'll add it. Act as a nutritionist, so I send it there. Please create a 5-day meal plan for 4 people focusing on supporting menopause health. The plan should include 3 meals. I don't need to tell it breakfast, lunch, and dinner, probably knows, and 2 snacks per day. Present the table in a clear table and present the plan in a clear table. I told you I love tables, and include a menopause joke per day. So let's go ahead and do that. So if I go into ChatGPT, I'm gonna say practice. I could say a mom or anything like that. 3 meals, 2 snacks per day, present the plan in a table format. Include a menopause joke per day. Okay. So that's my breakfast, snack, lunch, and dinner. I don't see the joke, so let me see. Remove the day column in the table. I mean, I could, if I'd be home, if I'd be home, I would,
Oh, there's your menopause joke down there.
why did the menopause woman go to the gym? To get hot on purpose for once. When your body says I'm hot, but your thermostat disagrees. Let me see if I can, I have a lot of stuff open. I don't want to touch too much on this. Let me see. Let me say, remove the snack column, remove the first snack column. I have a lot of things open, so I would normally play around with it, but I don't want it to be there. Why did the menopause woman go to the gym? To get hot on purpose for once. Menopause, when your body says I'm hot, but your thermostat disagrees. I don't have hot flashes. I have short tropical vacations. So this is my menu. Now what would I want a menu? I would like it to create a list, a shopping list, but I hate it when I go into the supermarket and I have to go to the butter over here and the milk over here because my family put it in different categories. So I want to make a shopping list and create it per supermarket category. This is for 4 people. It remembers, it has that in mind, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Which trail is this? This is
ChatGPT, yeah.
And how did you come to ChatGPT for this task? This is.
I could do Gemini, but I like the white background in this one. See, it says go to 30.
So it knows which supermarket you go.
No, it's categories. Dairies. See, I could download the list as well in PDF format and take it. Okay, I'm not gonna go into it, but I could play and say, no, created, not sure what it did. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, people have had me go and ask for prices in Automercado and everything, but yeah, I'm gonna go to the next one. I'm gonna go to the next step, but yeah, you could say, yeah, so I put in a grocery list. What else would you think for a menu? So, oh, let's do a recipe. Let's do so let's say I'm gonna do this quinoa salad. I don't have to copy it. Actually, I can say provide the recipe for the quinoa. Now, if I had time, I could ask for the whole week recipes, right? So that's the recipe for my quinoa salad.
Right.
And I can say, create a picture for this quinoa salad that looks professional, right? I'm directing it so that it doesn't go into give me like a funny salad.
I was feeling also the dependent photo of your refrigerator.
Yeah, and you can,
From where is it?
yeah, I tried that. You need to have like an American fridge where everything's organized. Mine was like all Tupperwares and stuff. Just kidding.
Right.
But yeah, it can do that, yeah. Okay. Quinoa. 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 Okay, I'm gonna go to Gemini for travel. I like Gemini for travel. So this one I'm gonna say act as a travel agent, prepare a trip from Costa Rica to London. I'm giving it the dates just for the example. I want to narrow it down so it's faster for it. Recommend where to stay, what to do, and places to eat of medium cost, and a family of 4 will be traveling. Now, Gemini is connected to Google. So I'll show you. I have Gemini here. Oh no, let me, the organics. Hopefully I can find your organic analysis. Yeah, I could find it. I was doing something that takes 15 minutes, so I'm gonna do it now. Hold on. Okay, so that's, okay. What's the difference between Gemini? Plan a trip from London to Costa Rica. I can go ahead and say, I can use Google and say, use Google Flights. Recommend for stay. I can say, go and find it in Google Hotels. Now, why is that good? It's all gonna be there. It's gonna provide me the information so that I don't have to go to another source. So I have a profile, I tell it how I want it to talk to me, so it talks to me about Glow, and I always tell it at the end, provide me with a summary of what it's providing me, but that's because I personalized it. So here's the flights from Costa Rica to London, the hotels, the things to do. But since it's linked to Google Flights, I can just click here and buy the ticket. Or if it's in the Google Hotel, right? These are the ones it recommends, so I can just click there and reserve it. Now, what is also cool about Google, since it's connected, I can say, oh, I'm gonna share it to my husband. So I go ahead and I share. I'm gonna share this conversation, or I can do a draft in my Gmail. Let's do a draft. Since I logged into my Gmail account, I'm gonna say, Adolfo, I looked into, and these are the things that we can do. And that's it. Okay, what's the next one? The next one was business innovation. I remember last time there was one of you that had a small hotel in Escazú that was trying to convert it to a new business. I don't remember.
Can you create your own database? Because for my product, what's out there, there's so little information and it's pretty antiquated.
You can use Notebook LM, and that's really cool. Yeah, let's look at LM. Notebook LM. I'll look at it in a minute. Okay, so who was the hotel in Escazú?
It was Pilar.
Ah, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna say act as an investor, provide 5 ideas. This is like business innovation, right? Provide 5 ideas to convert this hotel into a new business. Provide why it will be profitable in a strength, weakness, opportunities. I'm gonna go to ChatGPT for this one.
What is the difference between ChatGPT and Gemini?
They're just owned by different people.
They're owned by different people, and the fact that Gemini is in Google, you can link it to stuff in Google, and you can link it to your Gmail. You can link it to your documents. You can save it in your Google Drives, which I think is pretty cool. But I like the format and the feel of ChatGPT, so I use both. So that it could be like so that I ask for that prompt, right? It can say wellness hotels, these are the descriptions, why it would be profitable. And this is, like I said, it's the first draft. So you can sit and have a conversation, but somebody's already done the brainstorm for you. And why it's profitable for senior living, there's aging population, high demand for safe, culinary experience because culinary tourism is thriving, so forth. And then I asked for a strength opportunity analysis, and it went through it in if it's a wellness center, the threat is economic downturn. If it's a weakness, might require innovations and so forth.
Wow.
Okay, let's go another one. So this one was Cinco Ramas. This is deep research. It's done in Gemini, and it takes a while. It takes 15 minutes, and it can give you, like I said, like a thesis. So I told it to search. I did it earlier. I just want to show you the outcome. I told it, search for 3 similar organic spice providers, 2 similar to this one, and I provided her website, and create a SWOT analysis. I want to learn more about this market, right?
What is SWOT?
Strength, weakness, opportunities, and
Okay,
threats.
thank you.
So I did that earlier, and I just downloaded it here, and this is the executive summary. So this is the executive summary. Here's the introduction to Cinco Ramas. Unique proposition, organic, what they have, deeper market observations, rationale of why it selected Pin Spice Market, Curious Spice Market, and Gathering Space Trace Company as most suitable because each of these companies have certified organic spice market. Why it's an evolving market, the profile of these 3, and so forth. 19 pages of information before I go ahead and serve, just because I asked for that query. It's called Deep Research in Gemini. It's just like a search. So.
Our students doing like university used to do like all these pieces, yeah, because a year, how do you work with how?
So what used to happen is that the professors were provided, like in a good school, professors were provided so that they could scan to make sure that it's not created by the internet, right? But now somebody else is creating something to bury it so that it's not found out in that thing. So I think it's I think it's.
And I saw recently that there was a study about what's happening to students' brains right now, with the use of this, and you have the critical thinking and
Yeah,
everything.
it's a challenge.
Declining.
Unfortunately, this is the evolution of the world. This is so like.
It's also helpful in a lot of other things. That's the whole thing. It's like. Okay, so that would be deep research. Let me see what else I have. I wanted to, let's see if this works. I'm gonna go into Notebook LM, which is the one I recommend for your database. I'm sure there's other things out there, but every day there's something new, and this is the one I've tried. It's by Google. So I'm gonna create a business summary based on Bollero Travel. So if I go into Gemini,
When you say podcast, what does that mean?
I'll show you in a minute.
No.
I know.
Do you think someone's gonna Google you and suddenly because she put it in there that now they're gonna be like?
No, I'm gonna go.
For you?
No, so like, this is Notebook LM, right? So this would be where you're creating your own database. I'm gonna put in the website, Bollero, let me see if I have it. It's, see. I don't have to create a see. Did I miss something? Let me see.
No.
Hold on.
That's my web URL.
Yeah,
Whatever. Interesting. And that question about cognitive decline is really interesting. So my son is at a Santa Fe, a technical high school in an AI focus. And he is one of 20 students who's accepted for this year.
That's great.
Competitive program. And he actually has told me he doesn't use it for his own search. He likes to use his brain. So I think we need, as a society, to go that direction, to be like, let's use it for good, but
Yeah.
let's also use it right.
Transparency. We need to know who's using their brain and who's using AI. As a consumer, we should be able to have that right.
But then you can use it as Gloriana said, as a draft, as, you know, brainstorming, and then you put your own brain on it. I think that's really key. I think that's what we're trying to get at, that the best use of AI is not to just throw.
It's doing that. The majority want the easy way out.
Yeah. Okay, but hopefully they use their time for something else. Okay, so this is Boyero Travel. I put in the website in Notebook LM. I could provide an audio overview, which is what I said, if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so it's working on my audio, but I can also say, give me a briefing on my company. Okay, so here's your briefing. So the main themes of the website, right? The main themes of the website, the brand evolution, the history, core mission, key personnel, the contact information, summary of most important ideas, and if you had to give somebody like a quick guide. That. Yeah, we can ask for it.
Improvements to the website.
The AI, the way we have to analyze a website moving forward. You have your website, right? And maybe you can, ask, I want a better, architecture information for this website. And then you analyze this, and can you give me better best practices for this, how I can improve my website? And they will do recommendations.
Okay.
So things like that, I can use for
Yeah.
every business. But you really reverse actually want to.
You
Yeah.
you can also like Gemini, ChatGPT. I'm in Notebook LM, so I'm gonna use Notebook LM. But Gemini, ChatGPT, and Notebook LM, any of them can give from a website a frequent asked questions. So I met the other day with a lady in a store, an entrepreneur, and we said, provide a formal approach to this website and the frequent asked questions. And we created like her training plan for the employees. And then she didn't have to do it. She was just gonna read it saying, this is the way you approach for like everything that was in the website. So I'm gonna do it here, frequent asked questions. What did I do? Oh, my site's ready. My audio's ready, so.
Welcome to the deep dive. We,
Oh.
get smart fast. They do bespoke travel. The company will use those.
I don't,
If you have something, nobody knows what it is.
They've had a bit of a review.
yeah, I can't, I don't have an audio, but it's playing saying, oh, today we're gonna talk about Costa Rica.
Yeah,
my
history, what they actually offer travelers.
Be like.
Okay, let's unpack. So
no, it's done. It created an audio overview. It create the one that I have set up. Yeah, but there's an interactive mode. I don't know where my volume is.
So you see like one of those that's like the map that zooms into some place and it's gonna tell you a story about, you know, like in from the world view and then it comes out to a place and it tells you a little story about that thing. That voice is always an AI voice. That's not a real person.
Yeah.
So let's do,
Yeah, you hear it all the time. You just don't realize that that's not a guy.
okay.
Right.
I was just thinking that the other day I was writing the article that would go in this
Sí, ya me
newsletter,
perdí.
and I wanted
Dale.
to talk about, like peppermint and black pepper. And I have, you guys already know, I have like a billion stacks of books that I read all the time because I like it, right? But I wanna like be a little bit more current and make sure I have the accurate information. So of course I like opened 25 tabs looking for all these different articles, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm not gonna spend 3 hours writing for 500 words, you know, whatever, researching for this thing. So then I went into ChatGPT and I was like, okay, I like this book and this book and this book. Can you give me like a little summary to remind me of the things and bring me information that's new about pepperin and black pepper? And it gives me enough information to like start my brain, and then I write the article, but it like takes all the summary of all the stuff that
Yeah.
I sorts it all. Yeah, it all sorts it for you and like gives you the scoop, and then it could write the article, but I wrote it.
So this is, I'm gonna go into so we're not gonna do the audio, but you know how it was. I'm gonna go into ChatGPT and I'm gonna say, simplify in 10 sentences the following. So I always like to read financial statements, but I don't always understand them. And this one's on the web, right? So
you could scan a document.
you can upload a document. Yeah, you can actually, if you have good handwriting, you can upload your list.
Yes.
But in terms of medicine is a lot based on patients, and that's the least information that is on the web. So it'll give you information, but it's not like, but it will give you, if it's like a general. So here, HP reported full revenue at this with a decline of 3%. The gap was this, the non-gap was, I'm gonna say, simplify further. I mean, and I own understanding it, right? But it gives me the start point. Okay, so it made this money for a year, almost the same as last year. Oh, good. It earned this per share, per standard according, instead of saying gap and non-gap, slightly less than last year, right? So I can say, what questions can I ask? So assuming this was my company, I can upload my financial statements. If I don't want it to be, I don't put in the company name, right? But I can upload it just by adding plus. So I can say, how's the revenue last year? What's the cash flow? How did the PC and print segment market? So it's like a brainstorm of the thought process of you taking to a meeting. Let's see what else I have. Oh, this one, I'm gonna use your Bojero again. Create a list of frequent asked questions and answers for future users of that Bojero may ask. This is a travel agency based in Costa Rica, family owned. Use a friendly approach so that it can be used for employees to be trained. I'm gonna do it in ChatGPT, yeah, so. So for employees, general questions, what kind of service do they provide? Is Bojero for international students? Is it a big chain? How can I get travel agency and so forth? So you can use it as a baseline for your transportation and tours. In the audio, I used to say, who created it? And it respond back, but I didn't get that. Okay. And the last one for tonight, so that I close on today, is you can use it as your personal sommelier, right? Because this is too much. So recommend 3 wines available in Costa Rica to pair with your dinner. I'm gonna say you're gonna tell me what you're gonna eat, the type of wine you want, and describe of it in non-technical terms. So I can say, I'm gonna, well, you should know, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, recommend 3 wines to pair with fish and rice and beans. Provide a sweet wine. I said, tell it to me in non-technical terms. Casillero del Diablo Blanc, crisp and fresh. This white wine goes really good with fish. It won't overpower your rice and beans. This one's slightly fruity, but the wine makes it, if my fish is grilled, they'll make it taste better and so forth. So, I mean, this is like nonstop, whatever you can think of, you can do.
Okay, so like I need to rethink the way we educate the children and the way we educate ourselves. We're not gonna get away from this, it's huge. So here this is right here. But I don't wanna focus only on this, I also have this. How do we present this and this? So, Tony said, why should I go to Inkai? Well, I think Inkai has to reinvent its curriculum.
And it has. All the universities are already, this is all incorporated into every.
No, not to use the not AI. To get away from AI, not to escape, but to provide an alternative to AI, which would allow your own brain to work and to be developed.
In parallel.
Pardon?
In parallel, both things, right?
But I'm not saying get rid of AI, because it's never gonna happen. Oh, but anyways, so it's just to be rapid. For me, we need to be spending more time with nature, and I'm not a hippie, and I'm not a cuckoo. But just seriously.
Yeah, you are so cuckoo and I love it.
Well, thank you. And then the other thing is, what would I do as you, I'm gonna ask this question, what will I do with my population of a cartoon who are free readers? Adults who are free readers, how are they gonna get to this? And what can they offer to a society with the skills that they have, which is street smarts? You know, they know a lot. And how can we value their participation in the society of Costa Rica? We're not too.
I'm gonna ask that.
Let me tell you one thing, if you allow me. I have been an educator in 3 different countries for many years, almost 40 years. And I can tell you one thing. Somebody just said that all the universities are already changed. That's not accurate. No, that's not accurate. Most people with money left. Other people with no money, no, they can't. Let's face it. Second, is up to the human beings. We're just talking about that, us, the teachers, all, and we are all teachers here in life. We are all teachers, regardless of what your profession. What we think, we put it in the brain of the new generation, they have to they believe. Because if we don't think, just say it right. This is just consider this a draft. And think about it. Of course, you were saying, it took me a year to develop my thesis on the dissertation. Took you a year because the theory would now taught how to read fast and how to assimilate, and so you must write and rewrite and rewrite. The professor who's looking after your work said, "That's it. This is okay now because you see of you, right?" But that is because as an early age, children are not being taught how to think. Critical thinking is still important, and it's going to be still important in the year 30,000 something. Otherwise, look at what's going on with this generation. They are already noticing, many of them, in many countries like the Netherlands, they forbade computers and telephones and anything that is electronic in the classroom. They went back to the old type of books and writing because the children didn't know how to write or read. So there is all before.
Yeah.
I think it's really, AI to me is scary because the other day they made this experiment in which they told it, solve this problem, and if we don't like it, we're gonna shut it down. And it was taking very long to finish that problem, and they were checking all the thinking process that And it was multiplying itself, looking for other servers, looking a way to save it. So that it wouldn't be shut down. So it's already taking its own decisions.
Well, it's following the neural path saying you shouldn't shut down, so it's just, yeah. But we forget because we look at it like it.
Also, you have to realize even Elon Musk, what, yes, but he actually made one statement that it won't be food, it won't be water, that we are going to be having enough of, it'll be electricity.
Yeah.
Because these servers take so much electricity. In Wisconsin, they were told that, they bought, Google, I believe, bought acreage, tons. A lot was months, and they said that they were going to create jobs for the people in Milwaukee. It was the Milwaukee area. But all they needed was the water.
Yeah,
from-
They have a they're creating, they have a creating self-cooling now, reuse.
Do they?
Like, yeah,
Because they were
Eh,
using, they wanted the.
but- no, they use the water, but I know that HP has a few servers that has the whole cooling process where it goes into a pool, cools off and then comes back. So they're,
Well, the point
but
is-
it's new,
But
yeah.
the point is, the jobs
Yeah.
that they promise don't exist.
No?
Because there's so few people who need to run those processors. So few. And, you know, the electricity that it absorbs is beyond, and who's going to protect those things from future terrorists?
Yeah, but I think it's today's technology that requires that much energy. I'm sure it's so quickly evolving so fast.
Yeah.
I'm sure, of course, look at electric cars. When we started in 2000, they were 40 kilometers for a battery that was
Yeah.
lead based. Now it's lithium based, and it's, you know what.
It's like 400 kilometers, yeah, you're right.
I was looking at 1,000 kilometers for a battery that is lithium based. And I'm sure the machines are developing.
Maybe
how
we'll
those
go
work.
with it then.
Sure, but.
I mean, we just.
But that's why I put a picture of the decision makers. So, right, it's not a political statement, it is what it is, it's like, yeah, right?
Who's gonna be the decision maker? Elon Musk or Albert Einstein?
From now, the generation that falls from 20 years from now. because
Exactly.
Now, but we won't last that long.
We're
The next generation has to hold that.
Tired of singing, tired of saying, I don't like to get.
Yeah, exactly. But a gap here, it's a reality.
But it is, the transistors are getting optimized.
Okay, here's another thing. What is happening to empathy and compassion? Because if you are pulling it off of machines made with metals that come from countries where people are digging with their hands to bring out whatever they need, we're disconnected. It looks like we're connected, right? Because it's at our fingertips. But it seems to me that we're disconnected
But there's
in very important ways.
a lot of, if you look at it, there's a lot of coaching and call centers and support that have been in AI that are called GPTs, where it's sites that you go specifically to ask questions when you're in trouble, which has facilitated the fact that you no longer have to call like a call center. You'll have somebody like,
What if my trouble is I don't have enough food to eat, or I
Yeah.
can't pay my rent? That's my trouble.
No, we don't stop needing you just because we get that. We keep needing you. That's not gonna change. What you do in this world, that is not gonna change.
So we can change the.
But I'm not saying, I'm not, there's a lot of times.
yeah,
No, but
it's about the gap getting bigger, it's getting bigger.
And that should be getting smaller, because the cause of war is poverty. At the end of the day, it's either spiritual, intellectual, or physical poverty. And so what this, I'm not criticizing, because I know that we have to go there. Hey, my voice got better, thank you. But really, our fingers are in touch with, like Sarah's son is doing. And my grandson is in the university Fidelity. And I said, what are you working on? I got the group project I'm working on. I said, oh, show me your books.
Yeah. So he goes on his computer and he pulls something down. And it's something that's gobbledygook, I can't understand it. And I said, can you explain this to me? And he says, well, read it, it's very clear. I don't know what he's talking about. And therefore, that's the piece that educators are missing. And how to connect yourself, your brain with this and not just push a button.
Yeah. Okay, I know Mariana is
Yeah.
coming up, so thank you very much. I'm wrapping up this. I see, it's a new thing. I started with my mother and now my friends and that's. I don't know if I can take a thing. Can we check?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's only switched.
Uh-huh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So much.
I just closed the Zoom. Acabo de cerrar el Zoom. Fue putis. No.
Porque tenemos que mandar esto a la cocina. Ya te mandé todo, pero falta.
Me pones. Mariana, she's gonna talk. Okay, ya que les gustó.
Muy lindo y nos hizo pensar a todas un poquito más allá.
So, tell them that.
Just to announce, we are going to have the Raha presentation now, so if you need water, coffee, go ahead and get it, but get back in your seats within 5 minutes, please. And yes, they're gonna announce the raffle, so stay in your seats if you can. No, we should have done it before. Yeah, the microphone never worked, unfortunately.
Okay, the first, some of the NTR cars, right? Okay, so this one first.
No, you can't repeat it.
¿Qué es esto?
Okay.
La del 20.
Pedí a mi, sí, seguramente ayer lo puso, mi secretaria lo puso, le digo, ponlo aquí.
Gloriana, can I pass this to you? 'Cause I'm
No, I
just
was
switching it.
I'm
Okay.
gonna use mine, yeah.
Okay.
Sí,
Yes.
¿Cómo hacemos? HDMI no soportado.
Don't worry, do it a few times and it works. That's how it works. ¿Quién es? No peguen.
Okay, 3790, 25. Now, 5.
Where did you want to be muted? Yeah. No, we're sharing. Why did it go in? Over there. That's why it's not doing it. Oh, and now we're gonna go back. In okay, did you, Gloria, get one? Okay. Just a little back.
Where is the back here?
I don't know, but here, like here.
Yes.
There, okay.
Let me go to my house because they know me and close everybody always. Junté las actualizaciones.
Romy, ella no es la encargada de eso, ¿verdad? Pero yo la sigo de los pagos y yo es que no sé, me había venido y no había pagado, ya pagué 30,000. Ajá, para no estar pagando. Pero yo, mándame el feedback.
So we're gonna go, I'm gonna help Marliana with a little interpretation. I'm not great at it, but Marliana's gonna give her presentation in Spanish, and I will help out with the English part of it. Booming. Gary. All right, we're gonna get started on the Raha presentation now.
Okay.
This is Marliana. She is the founder and director of the Raha Foundation, an amazing organization that helps women who have been in sexual human trafficking. She's going to give us a lot more background on it, and I'll let her introduce herself further.
Oh, muchísimas gracias. Bueno, veo algunas caritas que ya conozco, otras que son nuevas. Y
It's nice to see you all. I see some familiar faces and others that are new. Good to see you.
y primero que nada, gracias por el espacio. Sé que es corto tiempo, trataré de ir muy rápido. Voy a condensar.
Thank you for the space, and I'm going to try and go a little bit quickly so that we can get through a lot of information.
Voy a actualizar un poquito lo que hemos estado haciendo desde que no nos hemos visto.
She's going to update us on what Raha has been up to since she's last shown us about what's happening.
Ya llevamos más de 3,000 mujeres víctimas de trata directamente y más de 20,000 indirectas.
There have been more than 3,000 women they've helped directly who have been in sexual trafficking, and more than 20,000 total indirectly helped.
Y estas indirectas son los hijos de las mujeres, porque tienen muchos hijos.
Right, but many of the indirectly helped people are obviously the children of these.
Bueno, aquí esto es una cuestión formal, que es la visión, valores. Yo se los puedo mandar porque el tiempo es muy corto para relatarles todo esto. Entonces, también qué es la trata de personas. Y quiero contarles.
Tal vez si queremos un poco de repaso de eso. Okay, so she's showing us her website with the mission, values, you know, and what their goals are. But she's going to go over a little bit about what is the trata de personas, so human trafficking.
Ajá. Se presenta cuando una persona promueve, solicita, ofrece o facilita, consigue, traslada, entrega o recibe para sí o para un tercero a una persona por medio de la violencia física o moral, el engaño o el abuso de poder para someterla a explotación sexual, trabajos o servicios forzados, esclavitud o prácticas análogas, servidumbre o la extirpación de un órgano, tejido o sus componentes.
Okay, I'm not gonna be able to do that, but you can see that sexual trafficking is not just a simple someone who's been a prostitute. It is widely defined by anybody who has been obligated or convinced to use their body for money. They may be from another country, they may be Costa Rican. There's, we're gonna have to translate that and get it to you via WhatsApp.
Or if you can learn more, you can
do
use ChatGPT. Continue.
Okay. Hemos estado, ok, tenemos nuestra población meta, como les he dicho, son las mujeres, pero las mujeres directas, las víctimas, pero también tenemos sus hijos, que van desde los bebés, tenemos una guardería desde 0 a 10 años, un espacio para los chicos de 11 a 18 años. Estos chicos es una gran bendición, porque estos chiquillos son los que están siendo ahorita las víctimas directas de las mafias, de los delincuentes, para atraparlos, para usarlos para las drogas, porque son desechables. Vemos que los matan, porque como no hay leyes muy fuertes para ellos, los atrapan, los convencen como que te voy a dar un celular, que vas a tener una buena vida. Ellos en su mente creen que van a ser invencibles. Los usan y muy rápido los matan. O sea, nos están matando los jóvenes que están en pobreza. Pero nosotros,
No, I'm gonna see what I can do with that. Okay, so the goal or the meta, the focus population that they're helping, can you go back on a setting to helping? The population that they're focused on is not only the women, but also the children and the teens. So they have a child care center for 0 to 10 years old, and they have a youth center for 11 to 18. And these are really, really important to keep these kids out of they're very vulnerable. They're a very vulnerable population who can be brought in by the mafia as new recruits, because they are, even if it's just stealing a cell phone, that's their and so what Raha Foundation is doing by protecting those kids is keeping them out of that vulnerable
I think
space.
that's an important thing that she said.
ok, entonces ahora,
They're disposable, yeah, that's.
ok, tenemos diferentes grupos, águilas, que son los chicos que los estamos entrenando bien, contra la trata, guardería, alerta, restauración y hombres en restauración.
Okay, so they have different areas. The Aguilas are the young people, and then the Guarderia is the little babies and children. Contra la trata es,
Ajá.
¿qué tipo de?
¿Dónde está contra la trata? Aquí damos charlas a diferentes organizaciones de gobierno y privadas.
So they give talks to different government organizations and non-governmental organizations. ¿Alertas qué es?
Alertas, estamos capacitando, sensibilizando a instituciones de Estado. Esto es muy parecido a organizaciones no gubernamentales y la sociedad civil y escuelas, más que nada. Contra la trata, perdón, yo a las contié, contra la trata estamos yendo a colegios muy vulnerables, escuelas muy vulnerables, poblaciones muy rurales, les estamos enseñando contra la trata.
So not only to government organizations and non-government organizations, but also schools where these kids are who are very vulnerable. The alerts is more of a system where they teach or give out notifications of things that are at the, I guess, very important like alerts and notifications about what's.
Restauraciones donde tenemos las mujeres adultas víctimas. Ellas reciben un proceso de 2 años que están recibiendo, primero que nada, porque llegan totalmente quebradas, sanidad interior, de que son seres humanos que aún valen, porque ellas no creen, ni siquiera ellas creen en ellas. Entonces hay que levantarlas de cero. O sea, tú vales, es que llegan así, mirando al suelo, no hablan, nunca sonríen, nunca participan. Hasta que poco a poco levantan la cabeza, empiezan a mirar, empiezan a hablar. Es que llegan como un ser humano que camina, pero que no hay vida ahí. Pero ahora tenemos mujeres muy lindas y hasta profesionales.
The Restoration Project is the core of what they do. That, it is bringing the women who are, word broken. They really don't connect with the world. They're just walking and talking, but they don't seem, they're not connected with their hearts, no self-worth. And so bringing those women through a process of restoration internally is a key part of what they do.
Incluso en este grupo estamos a punto de recibir ya la primera psicóloga de ese grupo. le dimos beca de estudio, una mujer inteligente, pero que había caído en lo más profundo, que ya no se puede caer, la hemos ido levantando poco a poco. Ya está como a un curso de terminar la universidad, le hemos pagado la universidad y tendremos una psicóloga más.
There's, so there, a big success story is a woman who's gone through this process of restoration, and she's currently in the very last course of her psychology studies degrees at university, so she'll be coming to
Igual
the women.
Igual del grupo de jóvenes también, la chica ya terminó, sacamos una chica, pero la chica nicaragüense en la pobreza más absoluta, viviendo en el basurero del Río Azul. ¿Y qué pasó con ella? Ella quería estudiar, le dimos la beca, terminó su carrera, ahora es psicóloga y está en el proceso de la práctica. Tenemos 2 psicólogas nuevas en nuestro equipo.
So they'll have a second psychologist on their team who is part of the youth group. So she was not in sexual trafficking, but she was part of the youth group. And she's also her practice right now. Pasantía, then she'll be joining the team as well.
Y también el grupo de hombres en restauración, porque atendemos chicos, chicas y chicos en el grupo de 11 a 18 años.
So from 11 to 18, there are also boys and men who become men. So there's also a men and restoration men's group.
Con ellos trabajamos fuertemente lo que es su identidad, porque muchos están confundidos, incluso hasta en su identidad sexual, pero también que no tienen un futuro, no tienen esperanza. Y hemos logrado sacar profesionales también de ese grupo de jóvenes.
So there's
Anterior.
okay. And
She's finishing this
so
this group.
do you have that one? Because I don't really.
She said that they're helping people who feel like they don't understand their own sexuality, their own sexual identity, helping to get them to a sort of more healthy place for them to be able to figure out their own identity.
Men.
I think she was referring to both men and women, but particularly because the end one is there about men, but in general, the young people, yeah.
Ahora sí, el siguiente, por favor. Nuestros enfoques están basados en la espiritualidad, en los derechos humanos y en el enfoque de género. Sin estos 3 es muy difícil avanzar. ¿Por qué espiritualidad? Porque la persona llega totalmente quebrantada y necesita creer que hay un Dios que no las ha desechado, que las ama, que las quiere, que no son la última basura del mundo, como muchas veces llegan y dicen.
No, so the 3, core attention, foci of the attention to the victims are number 1, spirituality, the basis of human rights, and the basis of gender identity or gender. So with the spirituality, what she's saying is that it's really important for them to go from feeling like they're the worst trash on earth to feeling loved. ¿Cuánto es de religión? ¿Es muy religioso?
No es religión, eso me encanta que me lo preguntó. Nosotros no somos una organización religiosa, somos una organización que tenemos valores cristianos, pero no somos una organización religiosa. Eso para que es una aclaración muy importante.
She wanted to make the clarification too, that it's not a religious organization, it's an organization based in Christian values.
Distinction. Ok. Estas son algunas alianzas que tenemos, que quisiéramos, bueno, aquí pueden verlas, incluso puedo mandarla, pero sé que tengo muy poco tiempo, entonces sigamos, avanzamos.
She's gonna share that with us, Rachel.
Tenemos alianzas con universidades, con el sector público, con privado, sociedad civil y público. Eso significa, por ejemplo, con la Junta de Protección Social, que nos apoya con una pequeña cantidad económica de los que juegan lotería. También parte de eso va a muchas organizaciones que reciben apoyo económico.
Okay, so before it was the United Nations, and then this one was the alliances here in Costa Rica, the civil, public sector, the private sector, and the civil society. So including if you play lottery, then that, a small portion of that goes towards, her program, or the Rahab Foundation program. Things like that.
Entre los logros, bueno, tenemos más, a la altura, más de 3.000 familias que son directas beneficiadas. Tenemos una capacitación y sensibilización a la sociedad civil y instituciones del gobierno. Hemos tenido proyectos, este proyecto de la Cruz, tuvimos un proyecto en la frontera muy exitoso. Y bueno, y estamos en la construcción de la primera etapa del albergue especializado en la montaña para mujeres y sus hijos.
So here are their logros, what they have succeeded in doing. So over ¿cuántos años?
¿Cuántos años?
De Rahab.
Vamos a cumplir 28 años ya.
Okay. In the last 28 years, they have benefited 3,000 families, and in that they've done all sorts of trainings and sensibility training, or for civil society, for our Costa Rican society, and as well as institutions and the government agencies. They have the Proyecto La Cruz es en la frontera. So it's a way station that they can help people who are crossing the border. And then they have purchased property, and they are in the first stages of construction for their albergue, their
Barracks. That's what albergue translates to, but it sounds terrible.
Shelter, a specialized shelter in the mountains of Heredia, and this is an amazing product.
Y tenemos otro, el nombre, bueno, le llamamos albergue, pero realmente se llama Hogar Metamorfosis.
Metamorphosis home is what they've called it.
Y es por el proceso que llevan las mujeres, es el mismo proceso que lleva la mariposa. Ellas están encerradas en un cocoon. La mariposa tiene que luchar para lograr salir y volar. Las mujeres tienen que lograr luchar con toda la situación económica, cultural, absolutamente todo lo que las envuelve para poder salir.
Beautiful analogy. So she's saying that it's the name, the metamorphosis home, because the idea is that each of these women are having to basically fight and develop like a butterfly does when it comes out of its cocoon and is able to fly away. They're going through an interior process and fighting against what society thinks of them, all these things. Did I miss you?
No, I think you got it.
Y tenemos el Hogar Metamorfosis Emergencias funcionando aquí en San José.
So their center here in San Jose very much focuses on emergency situations, women who are in immediate danger and trying to leave sexual.
Allí tenemos mujeres con sus hijos y les estamos dando toda la atención y tenemos escuelas cercanas donde ellos llevan a los niños.
So here in San Jose,
En San José.
they have their center, and it is established where the kids can they can go to nearby schools, so they can stay there for short term, como cuánto tiempo duran acá en San Jose.
Es como es emergencias, depende del estudio que le hagan a ellas, si es 2, 3 meses o puede ser hasta 1 año, porque si los chicos están en la escuela no los podemos cambiar de escuela cada rato.
So yeah, the women are there for 2 or 3 months, sometimes up to a year. It depends on their situation. They do a study on each woman and tailor their experience.
Ok, tenemos el programa de mujeres, como ya les dije, el programa de adolescentes, podemos hablar de las becas universitarias. En el programa de adolescentes, desde hace unos años realmente empezamos mi esposo y yo. Le dimos la beca a la primera chica que quería estudiar en la universidad.
So really what the university scholarships are, it started with an idea that she and her husband had. They gave one scholarship to one young girl who came out of the adolescent program, and to give her a scholarship to go to university.
Esa fue la primera semilla, pero ahora tenemos otros padrinos que nos ayudan con otras becas universitarias.
And now they have other godparents, quote unquote, to sponsor other university scholarships.
Y esto lo quiero destacar porque esta primera chica que atendimos era una chica que llegó a los 6 años con nosotros a nuestra guardería, hija de una víctima rescatada de México.
So that first girl was the, seed for this idea. She came as a 6-year-old into their preschool daycare, and from there she was part of the program. Her mom was.
Fue creciendo, le celebramos los 15 años, terminó el colegio.
And that she grew up in the program. They celebrated her quinceañera, 15 years, and then graduating from high school.
Y después, la chica quería ir a la universidad, pero no le dio puntaje para ni la UCR ni la nacional, pero lloraba porque quería ir a la universidad.
So she really wanted to go to university, but she didn't have the points to get into either the UCR or the university.
Historia corta, le dimos la beca, la tenía aquí yo, eso sí, en la mira, muy vigilada, con tres cosas que tenía que cumplir.
So then she said, okay, well, we'll sponsor you, but you need to follow all, these particular rules so that you have success.
Se graduó, licenciada en trabajo social con honores, y trabajó con nosotros algunos años, y ahora está en Estados Unidos estudiando, porque su mente cambió. Y ella dijo, yo ya no puedo estar con mi familia. Ellos hablan cosas diferentes y piensan cosas diferentes. La familia quedó aquí y ella que está acá. Y está volando por el mundo ahora.
So that student, she graduated with her degree in social work, and so she worked for several years with Rahab, and now she is studying an advanced degree in the United States. For better or for worse, she actually has a mentality that's very different from her family. So now she doesn't really see eye to eye with them, and she's able to achieve very great success in the world.
Y ella me dice, yo la quiero mucho, porque la veo desde chiquitita. Y ella me dice, ¿qué hubiera sido de mí si no hubiera existido Rahab? Lo más que podría haber aspirado era ser cajera de un supermercado.
So she has a very deep relationship with the girl, and so in all these years, what the girl comes back and says to Mariliana is, well, I don't know what I would have done without Rahab. I would just be a cashier in a supermarket. That's the highest thing I could aspire to.
Y esta es la historia de muchas de las mujeres, porque vienen por generaciones con mujeres que estaban en prostitución. La abuela de esta niña estaba en prostitución, la madre y todas sus tías, aún algunas todavía están en prostitución. Esta es la única que salió diferente y está hablando.
So this is a sad story. It's something that's very common. Comes from a line of women who have worked as prostitutes, including her grandmother, her mother, her aunts. And so some of those women are still prostitutes. And so this girl has broken the cycle and has gone above and beyond.
Ya, entonces avanzamos y programa Águilas, avancemos. Proyecto La Cruz, avancemos, ya terminó. El hogar Metamorfosis está eso ya está terminado. Lo que pasa es que ahora nos falta continuar con las cabañitas para que ellas vivan con sus hijos en esa cabañita.
So that photo is the space, the common space, ¿verdad? So this is the lodge or the shelter, but then they're working on making tiny houses for the different women and their families. This is in the mountains of Arabia.
Logros internacionales, bueno, estamos capacitando en Latinoamérica y el Caribe. Pertenecemos a una organización mundial que se llama ICAP Global. Y yo coordino todo lo que es Latinoamérica y el Caribe.
And so they have been working with ICAP Global as big trainings, and she's been running that since 2003.
Ajá. Y en noviembre recién pasado tuvimos un congreso en El Salvador y fue increíble. El presidente Bukele nos atendió, pero espectacular. O sea, no tengo palabras para decir de lo sorprendida que estamos.
So in El Salvador, she went to present, and she was very surprised at the reception and the attention she was given.
By the president of El Salvador.
The president of
Sí,
okay.
y nos dieron todas las facilidades y fue increíble, o sea, nosotros estábamos, ni siquiera tuvimos que pasar por migración, nos aceptaban, nos recibían con un letrero a la entrada, nos llevaban a una sala, nos ofrecían café y agua, mientras ellos iban, sellaban el pasaporte y nos llevaban en un carro especial al hotel, o sea, wow, diplomáticas.
She was treated as a VIP, given, not even going through security, she was left in a room to have coffee and tea while she was passed through there.
Lo lindo de esto es que muchos países países de Latinoamérica y el Caribe asistieron y se están capacitando con nosotros.
The point of this is that there are many countries in Latin America and the Caribbean that are being trained by her very important work with Rocco.
Ok, reconocimientos, bueno, hay muchos. Gracias a Dios nos ha bendecido con mucha gracia, con muchos países. Algunos son entregados directamente a todo el equipo, hay otros como ese, bueno, eso fue entregado directamente a mí. Y ahorita en diciembre, el recién pasado diciembre, el 5 de diciembre, el gobierno de Italia me otorgó un reconocimiento muy lindo y es una condecoración.
Condecoración?
I think that's.
Yeah, I had a lot. Okay, so she's been receiving many recognitions around the world internationally. The government of Italy recently gave her a Medal of Honor for her very important work. in the world.
Ellos me dieron el reconocimiento más grande que da el gobierno de Italia.
It's the highest honor that the government of Italy
Tiene un
gets.
nombre muy divertido, que yo me reí mucho.
What's the name?
El nombre es Caballera de la Orden de las Estrellas de Italia. Soy caballera ahora.
Caballera.
Soy caballera.
I don't know, a gentlewoman of the stars of Italy?
Italy, eso sí, como, ¿qué?
De belleza.
Me falta caballo. Es muy divertido. Pero esos son cosas pasajeras. Siguiente. Y ahí siguen y siguen. Son muchos reconocimientos. Quiero contarles qué hemos hecho en este tiempo. El año pasado entregamos la casa número 19.
Last year, they were able to give the 19th home to one of the women.
Y esto es muy lindo porque esta era una mujer que llegó, mire, es que nunca había visto, he trabajado mucho con esta población, pero nunca había escuchado algo más horroroso en la vida. No sé si existe algo más horroroso.
So she deals with a lot of bad stories, but this was one of the worst stories. This woman lived through a lot of horrible things.
Una mujer nicaragüense que no sabía ni leer ni escribir.
A Nicaraguan woman who didn't know how to read or write.
Era joven, pero no tenía ningún diente, casi no tenía uñas, no tenía pelito.
She was almost 19. She didn't have any teeth and she didn't have any nails and she didn't have any hair.
Delgadita, flaquita, encorvada y mirando siempre hacia el suelo y jamás hablaba.
Super, like
She's very, very
hunchbacked.
slim and very, like curved in her posture and, I assume you're just exhausted from,
It's exhausting.
yeah, and, you said, and, jamás, she said like, she just never spoke.
Cuando pudo hablar, cuando por fin pudo hablar, nos contó que su hermana la había prostituido y además le robó sus 3 hijitos para recibir dinero del PAN por ellos.
So what the situation was that the sister actually was prostituting her sister. And she took away her 3 children and took the benefits that Fanny gave to the aunt.
Buscamos la mejor abogada, que es nuestra patrocinadora, ahora es un ángel, y logró regresar esos hijos a esta madre.
So they were able to put their best lawyer on the case and get those 3 children back for this mother.
Pero tenía que demostrarle al PAN que ella podía sostener a esos niños.
But they had to go through the process of showing Fanny that this young mother could take care of these kids.
Aprendió con nosotros a coser, a hacer diferentes actividades donde empezó a trabajar y ganar dinero para mantener a sus hijos.
They did the training, things that she could learn to do, sewing and other things that she could do to make money to support herself.
Y gracias a Dios, bueno, los chiquillos empezaron otra vez a confiar en su mamá porque tenían años de haber sido robados y se levantaron todos como familia.
So the family was reunited and the kids were able to become confident in their mother's abilities again, and she took care of them.
Una dentista le donó todo su tratamiento, le puso todos sus dientitos y pudo sonreír.
A dentist, they had a dentist give the whole oral treatment because she had
La,
had
man-
teeth rebuilt.
la mandamos a clínica bíblica donde le hicieron todos los exámenes, empezó a crecer su pelito, más bien ahora tiene mucho, empezó a restaurar su piel, sus dientes, sus uñas, todo.
They took the Clinica Biblica also helped with getting her back all the rest of her health with tests and treatment. All growing the skin and the nails and the hair back.
Y empezamos a orar, Señor, ella necesita una casa.
And then they decided, well, she's gonna need a house.
Y encontramos los aliados y en el año pasado le entregamos una casa con una propiedad de 1,000 metros en Guapiles.
Last year, they were able to give her a house with 1,000 meters in Guapiles.
Con aguacate, banano, tiene todo el supermercado en el patio.
All the fruit trees in her backyard, avocado. et cetera.
Estamos tan felices por ella y se está superando. Ya sus hijos también están estudiando y una de ellas va a ser abogada y le vamos a dar una beca a ella.
So they're super proud and happy for her that she's succeeded so well, and one of her daughters is going to study law and then be able to protect and help other women like this.
Eso entre las tantas noticias buenas que le tenía, porque yo sé que hay que dar buenas noticias en este mundo que está lleno de guerras y de locura.
So she has many stories, but she wanted to tell us a few success stories so that we can have those to take home with us in this world that's full of war and other atrocities.
Y este año tuvimos un taller pero muy especial. Le dimos un taller, una charla legal a nuestro equipo, pero también invitamos a otras organizaciones con diferentes abogados a que vinieran a recibir consultas.
So este año.
Este año.
So this year they had a legal workshop, so not only for the Rahab Foundation's members and beneficiaries, but also for other organizations to learn legal processes and information that they need to know.
Y muy pronto van a ver ustedes unas bellezas en las calles, nuestros chicos, los que están saliendo adelante, que algunos todavía están en drogas, algunas chiquitas están teniendo bebés. En este momento hay un té que le tenemos a una chiquita que está a punto de tener un bebé, tiene 15 añitos, por Dios, y queremos que no se embaracen a esas edades, pero bueno, bien, entonces en este momento hay un té para ella, y estamos haciendo un proyecto fabuloso para San José.
Okay, they're doing a special project for San Jose. First, she told us a little bit about some of the young people that are still at risk. She was talking about a little baby shower that's about to happen for a girl in the program who is 15 years old and about to have a baby. So there's both sides. Certainly, having when a child comes, but there is this upcoming project in San Jose that she wants to tell us about.
El proyecto se llama Gradas que Inspiran. Ustedes han visto que hay gradas, escaleras en otros países muy lindas, muy bellas. La gente se va a sacar fotos.
The project will be staircases that inspire. So you've seen like Brazil and where else, Chile, there's different colored painted steps that people go to take photos on.
En pocos días estamos empezando a decorar gradas con los chicos, son los que lo van a hacer. Nosotros estamos poniendo todos los materiales, los artistas, los materiales, todo. La municipalidad nos ha dado el permiso. Entonces las primeras que van a ver son las gradas que vienen para acá. Hay unas graditas que suben así, después de la Universidad de San Marcos hay dos que suben. Esa es la calle 11. Al final de la calle 11 van dos. Esas son las primeras que vamos a hacer. Son con mosaicos, son bellezas. Ay, perdón.
So the young people are the ones who are spearheading the projects. There will be different staircases. One of the first ones will be by the San Marcos University. And so the Raha Foundation is funding the paint and having muralists and mosaic artists help with it, but it is spearheaded by the young people, so there will be multiple staircases in San Jose that'll be inspiring. ¿Van a tener placas o cómo van a saber la gente?
¿Cómo van a ser que somos nosotros?
Ajá.
Ah, sí, también lo vamos a poner nuestra firma.
Okay.
Okay.
They'll have Raha Foundation and details.
Yo quiero
on the
invitarles,
staircases.
nosotros estamos los que estamos al frente, que vamos frente a la batalla, estamos haciendo un trabajo, pero necesitamos manos, necesitamos corazones, necesitamos ideas, necesitamos personas que quieran unirse a trabajar en alguna área que nosotros tenemos. Hay diferentes formas. Comuníquese ahora.
So we're on the front lines. Obviously, the Raha Foundation is doing the very hard work. What they need are minds, hearts, and hands. And so what she wants to ask all of us for is our help with that.
Necesitamos tutores en inglés, por favor. Necesitamos personas que saben hacer un delicioso queque de manzana. Que la enseñen.
We need people who can teach and tutor in English. We need people who can make maybe perhaps a delicious apple cake.
Y si tienen algún negocio, algún comercio, que nos puedan facilitar donde poner nuestros productos. Tenemos pañuelos divinos, pero hermosos, bolsas preciosas, tenemos mucho material hecho por ellas y con mucha calidad.
So they also have a lot of beautiful products. So if somebody has a business where they could promote special products, so the Raha Foundation has neck handkerchiefs, beautifully printed handkerchiefs, bags, other things that have been sewn by the women.
Y en general, estamos necesitando gente que nos apoye, que nos diga, vengo aquí, yo sé hacer esto y esto y esto, a ver, ¿en qué podemos ubicar a esa persona?
And generally, they need people who can help network and help show us, how to get what they need. So being in touch with Raha is really important.
Hay muchas formas y ustedes son tan creativas que nos pueden dar buenas ideas.
So there's many forms that this could take, but they need our help.
Y escuché a alguien de Milwaukee, alguien estaba hablando sobre Milwaukee y les quiero contar, nosotros existimos en Milwaukee, nos llamamos Raha Global, pero necesitamos activarlo. Estamos en el proceso porque el presidente que teníamos se murió de cáncer, entonces tenemos parado eso, pero también estamos en Estados Unidos.
So they actually have created a Raha arm in the United States, so it's important to they're gonna have to revisit that because the person that was helping them passed away. So that's something that they're going to need help having the enlace, the connection with, if anybody is willing to take that on.
Y yo quiero que me hagan preguntas, porque puedo hablar 3 horas.
I'm afraid we don't have a lot of time, but if you have a few questions for Mariana, no se puede quedar para almorzar.
Oh, vamos a ver.
Because it would be better if we could do it over lunch. I do want to share, si puedo compartir solo la campaña que tenemos actual.
Okay.
Okay, so what we have right now for the PWNCR, we have launched our social responsibility campaign. We already have a donation of $100 to start us off, and we have a promise of a matching donation, making that donation by the end of this month. So what we want to, and it's a matching donation, sorry. We're trying to get to $500 minimum, right? We want to give Raha Foundation $500 to begin with. We have, so if we raise $200 by June 30th, it will be matched by our angel donor within our organization. So I'd like to invite everybody here to think about what you have in your pocket, what you have in your seat bay, and make a contribution, and we'll tally those up so that we can see where we're at after today. No, we don't want to send it to the PWNCR seat bay. We want to give it to Mariana or send it via the bank information seat bay of the organization, and I'll send it to the group. I will send it to you individually if you ask for it, no problem.
También las donaciones son deducibles del impuesto a la renta. Si es que tienen algún comercio, lo pueden deducir.
So it is a nonprofit organization, so that's very important to know. If you want to yeah, for the, if you're paying taxes in Costa Rica, then you can reduce it from your taxes. There's also through Amigos de Costa Rica, you can deduct it from your US taxes. So if you are willing to make a larger donation, we would love that too. And I'll give you those details as well.
¿Preguntas?
Te voy a quedar para.
Sí, voy a avisarte que te voy
We've
a.
had a couple of donations and they're being collected here.
Okay. Perfect. Can you get the receipt? Recibo, se puede.
No traje recibos, pero se los mando a todos.
She can send it, yeah.
Yo les envío el recibo porque vine desde mi casa y los recibos los tengo en la oficina.
Tranquila, she has them in her office now.
Nada más me dan el nombre y el correo y les mando el recibo.
Creo que sí hay muchas preguntas, pero
Okay.
para almorzar,
Okay,
sí, le
voy a cancelar lo que tenía.
se compramos el almuerzo.
Does it work for us to use our receipt?
I don't think, no, it doesn't say.
Does it work good? Yeah.
Gracias.
Si le invitamos a almorzar.
Bueno, está bien.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry, we didn't really get around to many announcements or anything. Next month, we're doing an art workshop at the Cocina Ecléctica. I will send out details by email. Alright, so lunch is supposed to be at noon, 10 minutes ago, so we do have to make our way downstairs. We'll eat in the restaurant. If anybody has any questions.
Good to see you.
Logró más morno como se quiere, los de ¿qué es esto? Entonces empecé a pero ya me hicieron una interpretación, me ha pasado, es normal, luego yo, ok, mañana tengo cita con el doctor, que tengo que decirle, igual si no puedo tabla, entonces me da tabla y yo con el doctor, ¿qué está haciendo? El chat me pide una tabla, después y ya me hicieron la segunda infiltración y los que ahora no tengo. Pero sí, yo haga esto.
Creo que siempre habla como que se deberían
Okay, la pieza está bien. No, pero está bueno. Generates AI. Allá en París.
She got other notes.
Eran 50
Plus $20. Setenta, 75, 77. Okay. So it's 77.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say that that's. Well, figure things out. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna try and send the first email and then I sent you another one. Check my second email because it has to like go and lie, because we have to say then here, it's like a template that I put together. Here's how much you go, here's the. So much. It's like you talk about it.
And my grandson, I made the second goal that was.
Data's like.
Picked it up, went over.
The experts. Okay, so this is next. Yo creo que sí, estamos con
No, this is not correct.
Okay.
It's 77 plus 20. 77,000 colones
Oh my God.
and $20.
77,020, all by anonymous. I'm just saying, okay, so I'm just putting that with Jackie and Mooney. Okay. Pero realmente es de cada persona. No That's what we want to avoid.
Entonces, puede escribir el recibo, el nombre de anónimo.
Okay, sí, eso es lo que preferimos, porque yo le puedo mandar como. No, yo prefiero que no sea nombre de PWH, porque después se rebaja es que nosotros no ganamos mucho y no gastamos mucho y no queremos estar como con la hacienda. Voy a enviar solo para que esté, es conexión con la otra, sí. Entonces eso es lo que yo tengo apuntado. Vamos a ver. Coincide.
Ustedes están intentando de construir, yo pensé, estaban intentando de construir hace años cuando hablamos de